Welcome, family and friends. It is July 8th and time for a garden update. This one might be a little bit longer just because I have so much to show you. Everything's doing really well, and I get a lot of questions from all of you, so I'd like to just share some common questions and answers. To start, this is the big reveal. If you watched a previous video, we had no idea what this volunteer plant was. You can see how tall it's getting. And if you come in here, we think it's a gourd. We still think it's a gourd. I'm still hopeful that maybe it's an edible squash. We bought these 3 gourds last year at a farmer's market, and I know that one of them was rotting, and we probably put it there for squirrels to eat, which makes sense. So it probably is maybe a yellow one. There's a couple other up there that are fruiting, so we'll see how far it gets and what it actually is. So it's been taking over. The cucumbers, you can see again, maybe it's taking over too much from the sunshine. There are about 8 cucumber plants in here, and let's see, here's one. So they're a little long and skinny right now, but they'll start to change. There's so many flowers, and I said 8, but really there's 7 because it can happen to anyone. I was pruning some leaves that were yellowing and chopped it right at the base. So this is one of those heartbreaking moments, but that's okay. I've got plenty more. Okay, next up we have this whole second round of different variety of lettuces. So these I keep covered because it is kind of on the buffet for the animals. But there's this different variety that is heat tolerant. So it's a Butter Crunch and Little Gem. All the rest of our lettuces, this lettuce ladder, we're just kind of getting through. This will be the rest of these varieties, which I have a whole another tray in our basement under grow lights ready to go. So you can see when this is bolting, like when I've said that before, people say, what does that mean? What does that mean? It's usually when this big stem comes up and it's just getting ready to flower and seed. The lettuce is still good to eat. This particular brand is Marvel of Four Seasons, which is so great. I was testing to show out some milky, it gets really milky and bitter, but none of them are even doing that. So just to look back, maybe down here, this one's called Ice Queen. It's one of the very best, crunchiest. It's been so amazing. So there's all this milky substance that will come out, and the leaves just taste really bitter. It's not like it's unsafe to eat. You just don't want to eat it. It just doesn't taste good at that point. So these are starting to do that. So we'll get through those. And then lots of flowers are all coming in. I think so beautiful. The peppers, I may have mentioned before, the peppers this year I planted very early, and they are doing so great. They're the earliest, biggest peppers that I've had yet. So these are some good ones. I mean, they're all over. There's another one here that is really big. So I'm excited because sometimes I have to wait all the way till August or September. So these will be ready to go. You can see here's a little weed. I usually just prune as I go. And then speaking of peppers, let's come over here. So this is a purple cayenne. So a hot variety, just like regular cayenne peppers. It's just fun to have them be purple. They will ripen to red, but this one you can see the peppers are shaping down and growing down. And then this one, they're coming up. It's the same seed packet, entirely same process, under the same grow light, same conditions, probably right next to each other in the tray. And what I found, or just doing some research, that it's most likely that this one was a hybrid and used some different red chili, Thai chilies, to create the seeds, or maybe it was right next to each other at some point in its seeding lifespan. And that's why they're growing up like a Thai chili. Typically cayennes are supposed to grow down like this one. So pretty interesting. They're the only 2 plants I have, and they look like that. So it's kind of fun. Here we have all of the heirloom tomatoes, and you can kind of see these are all different varieties. So you can just see how big they are right now, again on July 8th. we're seeing some growth. It's been super hot. It's been like 90 degrees here. Since a mushroom basket, they always look really fun. And just a few more here. I have a couple new varieties I've never tried before. This one is Alice's Dream. It's supposed to be like a pineapple, so we're excited about that. And then just wanted to touch on the basil. So you see this basil plant right here, and there's another one here. These just came from like quick propagated stems that we made earlier in the year and put there. Basil is so good with companion planting with tomatoes. You can't remember the spell, that's fine. They absolutely love like the shade, and they do so well. So they're so big I almost forget that they're there. And when I water, it's like, oh yeah, shoot, I better pay attention to this basil. You can see all these flowers are doing great. This is a coleus that was propagated from last year. So it goes through its like times of being a little bit weak. So it's kind of interesting to see how, if it's been, maybe it's like 3 years old at this point. So we keep like propagating and planting it, and it's a little bit weaker, but I mean they're still beautiful. But it's interesting to just learn kind of a little bit more about the coleus. Okay, so we're gonna go through here, and one thing I wanted to point out or just talk through is people always say, oh, I don't have time to garden, and I really don't do much. Like, in fact, today I was like, this garden is not ready to be on video because my tomatoes are not strung up, I haven't trimmed or cut, I haven't taken off any of the suckers in like 2 weeks because we had family here and visiting. So when I water in the morning, I'll just do what I can. Like, this is just, deadheading petunias is always good to help regrowth. And as I'm watering, I'll pull, or even in the video, I'm pulling weeds as I see them. I don't really spend a lot of time. That's kind of the beauty of the container gardens, is that there's not a lot of work to be done once everything is planted in. The potatoes, we have, again, two different varieties. There's about 11 plants in here, blue and white. So they're not growing any larger, but you can start to see some areas of yellow if you come in here and dying back. So you need to wait until they completely get yellow and dry up. You'll see later in the future, it looks really ugly. These will all have to die and sit and hang out for a couple weeks, because then that's how the potatoes cure under the ground before you can pull them out. And then the red onions are still like thriving. So you can see one here's one coming through. These are not ready yet. Same thing, here's one over here. Same thing with the potatoes, the red onions. These will all kind of die back. Okay, let's go this way. I am very excited about these three are different Roma style tomatoes that I haven't grown yet: Hungarian Heart and a Korean Long. And this one is supposed to traditionally have these like wispy leaves, but yeah, not like super confident. There are some tomatoes here, and it looks like there's almost maybe some like end blossom rot down here for sure, but it could just be growing conditions. This could be how the plant is. We'll see how that one does. These look healthy and great. And then green beans. This has been a really late harvesting season for me. They were a little finicky with the spring, but there's a lot here. Whoops, I'll have to get that one later. So it's important to keep trimming the beans so that it produces more, and you don't want it to ever get to the point where they are really like almost like the seed is protruding out, because then that's just going to be bitter, and then that's when the plant might stop producing. So I'll have to go through and get a harvest here. There's quite a bit. Let me see, and then there's like some dragon tongue beans. These were really finicky this year as well. You can see, look at this plant compared to these. This is the pole bean. It's starting to flower a little bit. And I've mentioned this before, but historically, I don't get a big harvest from these, but they're so pretty because they just wind up and they flower, and I don't mind it. So that's why we planted these here. I recently saw like a June bug or a beetle on here, so removed that It's really good to just like literally pick it off and just take it on the other side of the yard and try to get rid of them when you see them. They like to come out at night. And then moving over here, all the peppers. This almost looks like a marigold farm. It's beautiful. Peppers are doing great. This is one of my favorites, Jimmy Nardello. It's super sweet. I'll have to get my snips and take this one off. It's you can just eat it. I would recommend just raw or in a salad. You can heat them up too though, or like saute them. And then we were gifted a bag of potatoes that were expiring from a family member, teacher and Nicole. And they all had eyes, so of course Nicole said, oh, maybe you can like put these in the garden again. I was like, yeah, actually timing is okay. Well, it's a little late, but we'll see what we get. So they look great. I mean, they're the little tiny like gourmet potatoes, and I thought I planted way too many in a bucket, but we'll see what we get. I put like 5 or 6 in here. So they're starting to come up. I typically have the chicken wire on there just because the squirrels will have a field day and try to bury everything and dig them up. So once we get a couple more inches, then we'll put more dirt on top and then get dirt all the way to the top. Back here we have 6 of the tomatoes that were kind of leftovers that I didn't have family or friends to give to, and honestly didn't look very great, but since this isn't much back here except typically weeds, I planted them. They look pretty good. I did try to plant a bunch of flowers, wildflower seed packs, and then I used all the rest of my zinnia, marigold, and snapdragon seeds, and of that there was probably like 20 different varieties, and the only ones that are really growing up are my seeds. Yes, thank you. And these wonderful little cute forget-me-nots. So there's a bunch of weeds in here too, but I definitely see all the marigolds and zinnias starting to pop up, so we'll see. We'll see what it comes for fall. These were kind of like the leftover of marigolds. I was thinking this was going to be this huge pot of marigolds, and there's this baby bunny that loves to sit through here and over here, and thank you to my parent, I've never seen bunnies eat marigolds, because marigolds are supposed to be a deterrent for animals, and he's loved the buffet of marigolds and some of my other flowers that I'll show you. So literally snapping off right at the base where like the flowers are growing, but more are coming through. Some more lettuce, basil. This is another basil plant that's doing really well. I already went through and kind of took off all the seeds as they start to come through. And this is probably not the best technique, but what I do with that, I mean, they were large, is I just throw them down here in the pot. And sometimes they just self-seed, and then by the time fall comes, I might even have even more growing up. Snapdragons are all coming in. These were all planted from my seeding last year. I can show you how to do it. It's really putsy because they have to get really like dried out and hard. If you've ever seen a snapdragon where they just look like this brown like skull, and then once you take that off, you know kind of dump it out, and it literally is like black pepper, so it's super tiny, but you know, when you come home and you just want to enjoy and sit in the garden, that's something easy to do. And I had so many seeds, I gave them to family and friends, and clearly I'm reaping the benefits now. So this other baby bunny loves to live somewhere in here, and he likes to come out and feast on this buffet. So I was already on like a second round of flowers here because he ate all the Johnny Jump Ups and the marigolds and more Johnny Jump Ups, lobelia. Like, he just didn't give up. So I tried to plant another round of some different flowers, and eventually had to put some like chicken wire to try to block it. So hopefully he gives up soon and I get some other flowers here. I love these toolboxes. I don't want them to have chicken wire on them. And then I thought I would share like the totals with you. So far this year, from what I can count, we have 156 flowers and coleus, and 151 vegetables and herbs, and then 1 gourd. Okay, see you next time.